Kanaka, you're watching Talk Business. And to all our viewers who are joining us from around the region via Sky Pacific, welcome to the show. Now this week on Talk Business, we continue our coverage in Papua New Guinea. And we've traveled all the way to the northeast of the country to the New Ireland province. We're here in Kavieng, paying tribute to one of the country's longest serving industries, coconut. Join us as we show you the crucial link between a coconut processor and coastal farmers, and what organic certification of the copra production could mean for their sustainable livelihoods. We are now on our way to Kavieng. It's a coastal province in the northeast of Papua New Guinea, about a 2-hour flight from Port Moresby. Kavieng is located in the New Ireland province and is a picturesque volcanic island, a stark contrast to the rugged highlands of which PNG is renowned for. It's here where nature and people live in perfect harmony, as if time has stood still. We are here to feature one of the country's pioneering industries, coconut. Coconut products account for 1% of PNG's economy. While it may be ranked as the 4th agricultural commodity, around 309,417 households, or 1.5 million people, cultivate and produce coconuts in PNG. And for businesses like EMP Coconut Products, the coconut industry is a lot more than the numbers game. It's about impacting lives, economic empowerment, and helping communities transition from subsistence to commercial farming. And Reinhard Mangels is the man devoted to this cause. The German who has lived in PNG for almost 20 years. He believes, though, the coconut industry holds the answer to alleviating people out of poverty through the zero-waste plant facility.
We'll be buying whole coconuts and then dehusking them here, using the husks for making ropes and stabilization materials for constructions, like for hills to stabilize the ground. After the husks, the shell, we can turn into activated carbon. Once the coconut is broken, then the water is being used to make vinegar, and then the coconut meat itself then is turned into, it's grated, dried, and then pressed for virgin coconut oil.
It's this transition from the mere copra industry into the coconut industry that could revitalize the trade.
The world market price of copra goes up and down, and at times it's 4 times as much as at other times. It fluctuates too much. When the price goes down, it's not feasible for people to harvest coconuts and process them, because it's too expensive to bring them to the market. So the idea is, by buying whole coconuts, we'll be able to create a stable market for the future.
When you think of coconuts, the first image that usually springs to mind are beautiful white sandy beaches and swaying coconut palms providing shade. Well, that's the reality for many Pacific Island countries. Coconuts are our way of life and are readily available along the shoreline and on many islands, which is why for many coastal villages there are very few alternatives. We are now headed to one such coastal community that's about an hour's boat ride from the Kavieng mainland. It's located on an island further north of Kavieng, which relies heavily on coconuts for its livelihood. If you know anything about our talk business team, you'd know we are addicted to adventure. Whether you get us to trek up a rugged mountain or put us on a punt in the open sea, we would be in total bliss. So this boat ride into the open trench was nothing short of an adventure.
To Ungan village, based on Ungan Island, not too far from the Kavieng mainland. Now, I've been told it takes about 30 minutes on a speedboat, so we're on our way to find out. Now, it's here where we'll bring you the story of farmers who actually work together to produce copra for the export market. Moms, dad, pickaninnies, or the children as we call it, all work together in gathering coconuts, getting the flesh ready and dried, and then all ready for export. The coconut industry, in fact, is very crucial for many provinces in Papua New Guinea that depend on it for their livelihoods.
As we approach the island, you can't help but notice just how stunning it is. So untouched, pristine, and organic in every sense of the word. Ungang village is the only settlement on the entire island. It is home to around 90 villages. Apart from some livestock, all that is consumed here is homegrown. It's the simple life without the luxuries accustomed to us city dwellers. For the villagers here, coconuts are symbolic of their life by the sea. It's also their main source of income aside from their daily catch. Without coconuts though, the villagers find it difficult to get by.
If a fisherman gets out to sea, and depending on if he has a good catch, then he will make money. But if he has a bad catch, then he may not make enough. Unlike with the coconut's there all the time. All you need to do is, if you want it, you get in there and harvest it, and that's money straight away that you can have in your possession. If everything else fails, coconut is the only option that you can fall back.
Task of splitting the coconuts begin. Up next, cutting up the copra.
So, I thought I'd give it a go and find out just what it takes to cut copra. They say it's a dying skill, and I know back home in Fiji it sort of is. But in the islands, this is the only means of survival, especially if you live in a coastal village far away from the mainland. So let's give it a go and see what it's all about. One piece at least. Okay, so I know why they say it's not exactly easy to do. my feeble attempt. Okay. I think it's best I leave it to the professionals to do.
Copra making lies in one specific skill: how much and how well the copra is dried. Too much moisture or heat ruins the white flesh, so striking the right balance is key. Once dried, the copra has to be transported back to the mainland. For villagers, this can become a costly affair due to their isolation. Due to their reliance on coconuts here, the villagers are all too aware of the need to rehabilitate these senile coconut palms. Some of these trees are more than 50 years old. A replanting scheme will ensure the sustainability of this vital resource.
Coconut that we plant, it takes a while for it to actually start bearing fruit. But it takes more years just for that particular coconut to provide for us. I mean, we cut the leaves and we pick the coconut from it, but you know, it just don't stop. So in a sense, I think only when you plant, then you'll be able to harvest. We cannot harvest. You can harvest from what has been planted, but in a long while, as soon as this one dies away, that's it. It's all gone. So put back into the ground in order for you to be able to harvest.
To the average traveler, the coconut palms signify warm seas and sunny beaches. To people living in our part of the world, the coconut palm is the tree of life. And there's every good reason behind it. For villagers on the mainland in Kavieng, coconuts are integral to their way of life. Benham Copeland has been cultivating coconuts for as long as he can remember. He comes from a family of copra farmers and has grown on the greens of the copra plantations. His family has a long history with EMP coconut products. Benham personally supplies around 6 to 10 bags of dried copra a day to the mill, and his Mulvung village can put together 80 to 100 bags of copra each week.
How are we going to survive without coconut? Because the coconut I see in the island, like we're on the coast, we depend on coconut. We heat and we sell it, and whatever we do with coconut is very important for our living in the coastland.
The process of extracting coconut oil from the dried meat is no easy task. Once the coconuts have been gathered from the tall trees, the skillful job then begins. First, it's the process of splitting the coconuts precisely in half. Once the copra has been cut, the white flesh is placed into the dryer. The copra is kept here overnight to ensure it dries out well while at the same time retains enough moisture so it doesn't turn stone hard. Let's find out just how copra is milled.
We are feeding copra into the hammer mill, so the copra gets pulverized into little manageable pieces that the expellers can handle. It makes it easier for the expellers to extract the oil from that fine dust. If we have a big lump of copra, it doesn't extract the oil so readily. There's small bits and pieces.
So, what happens after the copra is crushed?
It gets transferred over to the hopper. Then from the hopper, it goes into the expellers. That's where we extract the oil. But we get two products out of this. We get the oil and we get also the mill, copra mill.
Copra industries across coconut producing countries are making the transition to coconut industries, if they haven't already. The Philippines is the world's largest producer of coconuts and has a fully fledged coconut industry, diversifying in all forms of byproducts. It's something EMP Coconut Products hopes to achieve with a whole nut processing plant. Once set up, the company should be able to produce 7,000 liters of coconut oil per day.
Whole coconuts, we need about 30,000 coconuts a day. But that's why we set up two lines. One is for coconuts and one is when people in the further out regions produce copra, we can process at the same time for a different market and a different product.
And this will mean job creation and investment dollars injected back into the local town's economy.
We are just about ready to go. The machines are here, they're being installed now. And of course, we'll be employing at least another 100 people just at the factory here to dehusk the coconuts and to do the grading and packing and making ropes and vinegar, and there'll be a lot of people working.
Another important aspect that's expected to enhance production and output is organic certification. The business is working towards getting the entire process from the farm to production organically certified in a bid to tap into niche export markets. Assisting the business towards this goal is the European Union-funded Increasing Agricultural Commodity Trade or IACT program. IACT has been working closely with EMP coconut products in documenting the entire process, improving production and ensuring fertilizers are not used to get the business organically certified.
It means the farmers have to meet certain agricultural standards, but it also involves documentation so that there are records kept on each farm of all the activities. In organic certification, you should be able to trace the product from the shelf right back to the field that it was harvested from.
Organic certification also enhances biodiversity, protects soils, improves the nutritional quality of food, and provides more employment in rural areas. For EMP coconut products, organic certification will translate into an increase in exports by 30% and meaningful returns for farmers too.
We have signed up 50 farmers or signed contracts with them to supply us, and in return we will get them certified to provide us organic coconuts. I know it's a long way, it will take a long time, but I think in the end it will mean the farmers will get a lot more for their coconuts.
Now, organic certification is often perceived as a seal of guarantee to a consumer. And for Pacific Island countries competing against more affluent exporting countries, sometimes organic certification can make all the difference.
Organic certification is really important for businesses in areas like the Pacific because it's difficult for us to compete with the larger populations and larger areas such as Asia. Our costs of production are more expensive, it's difficult for us to ship things anywhere, so the more value we can add to our products, the more likely we are to be able to compete in that market. And organic certification can help do that. It can increase the value of our products so we can find those niche markets and we're not actually competing with the large commodities anymore. We're in a different sort of sector of the market.
Which is why the European Union is keen on working closely with businesses like the EMP coconut products to level the playing field. By doing so, the EU hopes the systems provided through IACT would infiltrate premium Pacific products into markets across Europe and beyond.
We do have a very important role, I believe, as a partner to the Pacific. We certainly do what we can to facilitate economic development in the different countries. But quite honestly, we're also very keen to give European consumers access to the products coming from the Pacific. And we are pleased that markets are being found, that there are more, let's say, opportunities, there's more choice in the European markets because of some of the products coming a long way from the Pacific, but they're products which are not obtained elsewhere.
By enabling the private sector of regional countries to become export-ready isn't enough. Working closely with governments of the Pacific to ensure regulatory frameworks are not too stringent is equally crucial.
We've also worked with governments in the region to help them to establish, let's say, regulatory frameworks under which the private sector can operate, which really favours export growth. In other words, what sort of conditions companies need in order to thrive.
For EMP products, the organic certification process will take another 2 years. In the meantime, the company hopes to get the setup of the whole nut processing plant underway. But for a business that relies on an agricultural commodity that's been in existence since time immemorial, it knows too well that the coconut industry has yet to unleash its full potential.
It's already made a big impact by helping us to employ a chemical engineer that is able to help us with our processing and also develop byproducts, which we're working on now. Again, with the organic certification, we've already signed up. We trained some of our people to do that with the help of the EU.
And that's the show for this week. We'd love to hear from you, so do send us an email, talkbusiness@fijitv.com.fj. Remember, you can catch me on the net, on our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page. And if you have a Twitter account, follow me at Rachna FijiTV. Thank you for joining us. Do join us again at the same time next week. Until then, have a productive week.